Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing the beams. We're going to be moving the beams, and I guess we'll kill the player if they hit the beam. Actually, we might do damage if they hit the beam, but yeah, we'll set it up so we can damage them or kill them, just depending on how much health we do or take away. So let's open it up in code. Start up the server here when it loads. So we are doing it in the obstacle course.lua script here. Let's create a global. Well, I guess we could do random damage. So let's do. I want it above that guy. So local min. Oops, yeah, that's gonna load up. Okay, local min equals. So we'll do a minimum of 20 damage, then a max of 50 damage. Then we'll also need to create a new random. So, where are these beams located? So they're in bank laser beams. So, let's do bank. Then we have to get the laser beams. Now, was that a capital B? Yes, okay. So for every laser, we could. I was debating this right before I started recording this, if I'm going to make like a class module for each laser beam. But that seems like it takes up an unnecessary amount of data, so let's not. In I pairs, and we can assume that everything in this array or table, sorry, or everything that comes out of this I pairs function will be a part because we only have parts in there. So let's do. We can do touched, I guess. Connect, hit. And then we will see. I'm not sure the best way to. We should probably create a function for this. So I'm not really sure the best way to get the player from it. So typically what I do is I loop through the players in player service and see if it's a descendant of their character. But yeah, I guess that's what we'll do. Because then it lets us get the player that way too. So players, get players. And we should be looping through that too. So let's just copy that. Call that player. I have a bunch of white space now. So if the hit part, so first we have to check to see if the player's characters exists. Then if player.character, so what you do, I always do this because I can't spell for the life of me, so do, or sorry, then. So if the player exists and the hit is a descendant of the character, sorry, the character exists, then we can get the humanoid. So local humanoid. And I believe if the character exists, the humanoid will always exist. So we're going to assume that that's the case. And if it doesn't, I mean, we can fix that later if errors start to pop up. Then we'll do a take damage. And it will be random next number. It will be min max. All right, so first we start up Rojo. What that do is updating, start it up there. All right, so now if we hit one of these beams, it might insta-kill us just because we hit it like twice, I guess. I don't really know how to explain that. Well, let's see. Okay, it didn't even damage us at all. Probably because we never actually... Right, we have to blow up the door first. Right. Because that's when the obstacle course starts. Is when we blow up the door. So let's blow it up. Now the beams... Yeah, so it's going to insta-kill us. So let's add in a little debounce. So what we'll do is we'll do local hit times. And what we'll do hit times player is os.clock. And then we'll make another one. Debounce, another constant up here. And we'll do half a second. And what we'll do in here is we will... Well, that's going to get... No, let's just do it like... We could do a delay function. I don't see... I want to do... To check if... I want to do like a... What I want to do is... If hit time... Player. So we'll do... I guess if it's bigger then we'll just continue. But continue isn't supported yet, so it's highlighted, but can we silence that at all? Let's see if we can silence that. Nope. Alright, whatever. See, what the problem with that though is that when the we'll have to manage like when the players leave the game. I think maybe it will clean itself up if the player leaves the game because player would become nil at that point. Yeah, but, you know, let's just keep it this way, and then we'll have to make this smaller than debounce time. And I guess too, once well, this doesn't reset itself. Well, we could do that. We could just do this. Every time it runs, it just resets itself. So anything that's left over will get cleaned up immediately. Yeah, okay. So that's the way we'll manage the memory there. So it's not saving unnecessary stuff in there. So now we shouldn't get insta-killed when we hit it. But, I mean, theoretically, we could just walk over it. Well, now it's not even damaging us, so... Right, because... Here. So, if not that, or... That's not how you spell clock, though. Okay, this should work. So if they don't already have a time, or the time is less than the debounce time, they should get damaged. But they get insta-killed. Let's make the debounce time like 10 seconds or something so we can actually see what's happening. If there is a problem. So we hit it. Okay, so the debounce is the problem. So if it's less than the debounce time, well, it should be if it's more than the debounce time, right? Change back to half a second. Because if it's less than the debounce time, we don't want to damage them again because it will just insta-kill them like you guys have seen there. So, awesome. So now we do get damage when we hit it, and it does a random amount of damage. Perfect. Now we just have to make them move. So we've connected the hit. We're going to connect that at the bottom. We need tween service. We're going to create a new... Well, let's create a new variable up here for local running. That should be lowercase r. So, yeah, so I'll bring this up here actually, now that I've changed my mind. So what we'll do then is we'll do a while loop here, I guess. And then while it's running, we'll create a new tween. Yeah, so let's do beam tween info.new, make it take 2 seconds. And we'll do the C frame so that we can position these beams any way we want, really. So it'll have to be beam.cframe. So we'll have to capture the original C frame, so local so we have the original C frame there. So we'll take the original C frame. I'm not really sure which way the beam's orientated, so let's, oh, they removed that, so we can't even check what face everything's on now. Okay, so I think this should be the, we can check that actually using the scale tool here. This should also all be anchored. Okay, so if we increase it on this axis, okay, that is the Z axis for that part, so we'll move it 3 blocks forward in 2 seconds, wait 2 seconds, wait 2 seconds at the end, then we'll move it back 3 parts. So now when it starts running, oh, I don't think we actually ever set running to true though, so let's get out of that. Running equals true. Then here we will want running equal to false. All right, so now let's test that out. So now after we blow up the door, the beams should be moving back and forth. They'll be the same. Yeah, they'll be moving at the exact same rate if they even unable to cast to dictionary. Why is that? Line 39. Right, because we never said what we were moving. Yeah, so we should add in some randomization in there. Maybe, we'll probably change the wait time for each one. So some of them move faster than others, some of them move slower. Okay, we'll have to spawn it. Oh, that didn't damage me. Okay, let's see. That should be damaging me. Oh, yeah, but that will be fixed when we spawn it, so. Spawn function. Because we have to put it on a separate thread. Recording. Yep. So now they both move. So they move identically, like the exact same. No, I don't want that. I want the dev console. Memory is high, but that's probably just because we're in studio. So physics is sending. I don't quite remember what the normal physics is at. What am I looking for? Data. Data is still pretty low. Physics isn't sending that much data. So now if we hit it, it should damage us. If we stand here. Okay, sweet. So yeah, so let's randomize this wait time. Wait time, run time. Then we'll just do a next number again. I should be random. So we'll make it take anything between 2 seconds and 5 seconds. We could also make it one of them start going forward, one of them start going backwards. Actually, no, that's not a bad idea because then it really randomizes it. So yeah, so now they're not the same speed, but they still don't feel right. So let's do another one. This one we'll call modifier. This one will have to be an integer. do is we'll do if modifier is 2, then modifier will just be -1. And then what we'll do, we'll times this. So that will make should randomize their going back and forth motion. So they can either start going forward or start going backwards. In this case, they both started going the exact same way. So let's test that one more time. We can also add a few more beams in. In this case, they also started going the exact same way. Okay, so let's add a few more beams in. Because we can add in as many beams as we want and it won't affect our code. Which is why we wrote it that way. Because it looks like they're all identical. Let's test it one more time just to be sure. I don't see why they'd all be identical. Okay, so they're not identical. It's just you just got bad luck. Every single time you got bad luck. Collect our money now. It's gonna kill us, yep. Okay, we're gonna test that one more time just to make sure that it actually is working. Beams aren't moving until we start the robbery. Okay, so it is working. It's just you just got bad luck there. We could also probably should make those move in a linear fashion. We don't need to, but we'll play with that more when we get the actual bank model up and running to see how it looks in there. Okay, so that's the beams essentially done. So now what we need to do is, I guess we can create some more UI stuff, like, well, how do we want to do this? So we want them to open the door, which we already have, jump over the obstacle course and collect the money, but we have to tell them over here that there's money to be collected. So I guess we could just add in part here. I don't want it to be invisible because I want to be able to see it for my testing. But we don't need to make it insanely. So that's a horrible, horrible color. That's also too dark. Yes, that's better. So yeah, so we'll name this. We'll put it inside the bank. It doesn't really fit in any other folder, so we'll just call this money spot. And what we'll do is we can create a we'll create a billboard GUI here that's like circular and says money or something. And when, well, actually, what we should do then is create a whole indicator system then. So we can make, because we're going to need other things like this in the future. So we should probably just create a whole system for it actually. And luckily I just wrote one not too long ago, so I know how to do it for the other project that I'm working on that I probably won't record any videos on because it's not as exciting, at least to me. So actually, we don't have to do that right now. We can do that later. So right now, so there'll be more obstacle courses over here. For example, some more laser beams, so we can just move these over. Honestly, it will still work. Though we probably will end up splitting these simply because we don't want, well, yeah, these don't need to start moving until the money's all taken, essentially. Because actually we might put a door here too. That makes it so they can't go through until, well, we don't need the door there. Let them escape with no money. Who cares? Their fault. And then what we'll do, we'll insert a wedge if my mouse decides to let me. So at the end of this, this wedge that will take them up to the roof or something. Or I guess we can also, I was planning on adding stuff that takes them down to the sewers also. So take them up and around. Come on, there. Take them up. So whatever. The actual bank modeler is going to be doing this. This is just for the testing, obviously, as I keep mentioning. And then once they're up here, excuse my voice cracks, they will be exposed to, well, actually, we don't even need to make this an elaborate thing for testing. Basically, this is going to be like an exit block. So once they walk through this part, they're free from the bank quotation marks. And then after they free the bank, well, we actually don't even need, well, we do kind of need to detect when to free the bank so we can tell them stuff. And then what they have to do also is make it over to this safe zone to actually collect their money. So they'll have to walk through this purple part that will be invisible in the game, and then hit this orange part to actually collect the money. Although we will probably end up doing distance checks, so it doesn't impact gunplay. So if we just put that small part there, for example, and then we can also make this way smaller. So we'll create a new folder. So let's insert these into that new folder, and we'll call this locations. And I guess we should also put the money one in there too. That's a good spot for it, is locations, because that's where we will be doing all of our indicator stuff in the future. Well, but let's see. We should probably keep the bank ones separate from the rest of the global ones, though. So let's just clone this, put it inside bank, get rid of the safe zone, and then we'll only keep the safe zone in the global one. So now we have, so we have the bank locations, and then we have the global ones there. So we have to make sure that these beams are actually in its folder. In the laser beams folder. These are probably all frame items. Yeah. So let's move that into frame, clean everything up. All right. So let's test what we have now, just to make sure everything's still working. Should be, we didn't change anything really. So, and these beams are also working. So once we get close to this purple part, a UI will pop up saying, go to the safe zone, for example. And then we'll walk over to the safe zone, and it will say, robbery succeeded, you collected your money, or whatever. Something simple. But in order to do that, we will need to create a notification system, which I guess is what we'll do next. We'll have to create like a global message notification that will pop up at the top of your screen, and then little personal ones, I guess. Like, so the global ones at the top will be meant for everyone, and then the personal ones will be meant just for you. And I'm not really sure how that's going to look yet, so we're going to make it very, very basic, so that when we make our UI, and I'll be recording that too, you guys watch me make the UI and everything for this game. So when we do that, it'll be easier for us to change it, I guess, or make it what we want it to be. So let's get that notification system going. Well, so that will be ROACT based also. Now, we could create one ROACT component that deals with both the main ones and the player specific ones. I guess let me open XD real quick so we can visualize this a bit better. Yeah, I knew it was going to go smaller. It always does that. So let's open up XD here. Okay, so let's create new. So, okay, I don't like that color. It's blinding. There. So our main one will pop up here. That'll be there. And I was thinking the private ones would pop up like, kind of like this over here. In a list, kind of like that. But that might not be obvious enough. So it'd probably be better if we actually did it like. I've been doing so much YouTube these past few days that my voice is starting to give out. So if we did it like this, smaller one under the main one, and made them list down like that. They won't be that big, obviously, but that's probably the best way to do this, I think. For our purpose anyways. Okay, so let's head over to React. So what we'll need to do, we'll need to create a notifications. Let's close off all the scripts that we do not need. Always spell Lua wrong. First, let's copy all that into here. Oops. Darn it. Yep, get rid of it. I meant to copy the code, not the file. We won't need the background screen or the progress bar. Then what we'll do, we'll just close everything else. Get rid of that. So this will be a stateful component, and we're also going to use otter for this. We probably won't use otter today because we don't need to, but eventually we will. So let's not include it yet then. I've already installed it here, right here. So it's already in for people who are wondering. Let's just, for now, let's just return a functional component. And we'll just return an element. Well, for now, we will just return a text label. And so realistically, we should have a separate component for each one. So let's do, well, it won't let us do that because it'll be the same name. That's not how you spell notifications. And this will be a rename to init. What we'll do, we'll create a new file for server message, Lua. Then we'll do player message. That is a folder. All right, so we have to require these two now. We'll go player message now. Awesome. All right, so I guess so we'll return a frame with some properties, and then we'll give it a table of notifications. So all right, so how do we want to do this? Actually, this main module won't need otter. It'll be the secondary ones that will need otter. So we'll get a props dot. So we'll add the server ones first because they'll be on top, and then we'll add the player ones. And then what we'll do, well, we'll probably want to ID each notification. Okay, we'll still have to keep track of the number for positioning though, so the number will be at 0. And then, so what we'll do, we'll get the ID from each one. And we'll probably, yeah, let's just do that. And then we'll also have to keep track of each individual size, so. Because they'll have different sizes, so. So when we go to the player, it'll have to know that, oh, there's X amount of server ones, so we have to offset ourselves by X amount. So then we'll just create fragment, pass in the server ones, pass in the player ones. All right, so for each server message, what we'll do is we'll do server notifications, ID equals E, that, pass the server notif, deal with that. All right, so this is not, okay, so we'll set the size to take up the full screen, I guess. Then we'll just make it invisible. All right, so this main holder screen will decide all the elements that we need to generate, put them inside a holder frame that takes up the full screen, and then each individual module will also have to, I guess, we'll have to split this up. We'll have to, because we have to pass the numbers to it. Okay, so what do we call that? Info. Actually, you know, we can probably get away with using the same component for both. Maybe, we'll see. So this one won't have any player numbers, but this one will need to know what the server number is, so it can offset itself correctly. And okay, so yeah, that will work now. So yeah, so here, I guess, okay, well, we'll copy everything that we need. Okay, actually, it looks like we are not creating a, okay, need to make sure we're creating a player message. Okay, we don't need these. For now, we're going to return autocomplete, thank you. The text label. Text equals props dot, I guess it'll be message. Position, okay, this is where it gets interesting. So it's the center of the screen. But, okay, so let's set up the anchor point also. So it would be anchored to the center in the top. So this will be, so actually that would be props.info.message. I want to keep all props capitalized to keep it consistent. Let's change that then. Okay, so for the player, we get the server number and the player number. So let's generate it up here. Times whatever. Well, I guess we'll also have to pass in the server notification size. Actually, we should probably pass in the sizes for both. And we can store those in here. And then on mobile, we'll make these smaller. Though that should not be capitalized because it is a simple variable. All right, so, okay, now that we have those, server size, so now we can set the size of it too. And we'll make it, well, it doesn't need to take up the full thing. We'll maybe do 6. And we'll set text scale to true. Font, something bold. Color. Will be white. So let's get that to be white. All right, so now that we have this all set up, that's all we need, except we have to actually set the position properly. Okay, so that's all we need for that. And then the server one will basically be identical, except its Y size will ignore the player size. And then we'll use the server size for the size. Which I guess we could just use the same component then. Well, no, we'll probably make, when we actually design a UI, they'll probably look distinctly different, so we'll keep them separate for that reason. Because the server one will be fancier than the normal one, or like just the player one, because it can. We don't need this components variable. We also probably don't need in this script either. Yeah, anyways, we might in the future, but we don't right now. We really need to create that text component. Because, yeah, so let's do that before we get carried away with ourselves. So I'm going to create a folder for it. Then we'll create a bunch of them. So we'll do title.text or title.lua, sorry. Then we'll do normal. Yeah, and then here what we'll do return equals all right, so we have these set up now, so we can just access this main module. So let me show you guys what we're doing here. So replicate storage, we've created this text module that's just this. Inside it we have this normal and title modules. In our screens we've just created this notifications one, which has these two things inside of it. Okay, so that's all looking very good so far. Okay. Now, for now, what we'll do is, actually for now all we have to do is take these, the title, return a standard text label. The only thing else we'll need here is the text color. But we'll just default that. Actually, we'll default everything. Okay, so those are all defaulted, so now we can just call that and it will work. We're going to literally just copy and paste that into here. Now, the only difference will be the font. So that will just be that, and then the other one will be bold. Okay, so now in our notifications, what we'll do is we deleted this. Yeah, now we need the components actually. So okay, so here instead of a text label, we will do a text.title. Essentially the same thing for the other one. We'll do text.title there too. All right, so we have our title set up. We don't need the normal right now. Well, we do need the normal for, actually this is the way we can test it because we need to use it in here too. So here, instead of a text label, which we do have, yeah, here. Actually, I guess that will be title actually too. That will also be a title. And here in money, we don't have one yet. Background screen, progress bar, also don't have one. Okay, so we're all set up there. We do actually need to set the background transparency. Equals 1 and text scaled. All right, so we have those set up now. Both, okay, so if we test this, our UI should be using the new text components, assuming there's no major errors, which there most certainly will be. Yep, there it is. Brick color, I probably forgot to put a 3 next to something. Text color 3, yep. I should move my camera way closer to the door. All right, so we are using the new components. So that's nice. Okay, so we are using the new components. Though I thought plant bomb was on top of that. Yeah, that E. Okay, oh, because we didn't put in the layout order. Okay, so you know what we should have done is should have just done this from the beginning. It would have been way easier. I thought about it and then I didn't do it, so I guess it doesn't matter. That should work. I should bring water with me when I do these videos. So now it's definitely not working. Why? Why? Well, I guess, yeah, I guess what we'll do is just that. Alright, so now we override everything we want to override. Except normal doesn't use bold. And it should say text here or something. Alright, that should work. Theoretically. Alright, we just didn't set the background transparency, which is an easy fix. Now, it's very likely background transparency, will always be 1. Background transparency will always be 1 in every use case of this. That's what I'm anticipating anyways. I mean, if it's not, we'll change it. Alright, so now it's working. Okay, so that's all working now. Okay, sweet. We got our thingies. Then we'd come out here. Obviously, it wouldn't be laid out like this. Oh, we died. We didn't even make it. Okay, so that's all set up. We have this text component that I've been delaying for this literally the whole series. Okay, now we have to actually test out these notifications. Because, I mean, they should work. Maybe. Notifications.client. Lua. Okay, and then we will just do a fancy old. Guess we'll do that. Don't need the players or any of this. None of that. Oops. We do need ROACT. We do need remotes. I just thought too, we should be storing these scripts in replicated storage, which would need to be as modules. To keep down server memory and to cut down on everything that's being replicated. Okay, we'll do that next video probably. We're gonna move all these client scripts into modules and put them in replicated storage somewhere. Yeah, we'll do that next video. I don't have time today, really. I have to get back to my other project here shortly. Okay, so we will be using remotes for this eventually, but not right now. And we call this notifications. Let's create a simple app function. Okay, so what does notifications want us to give it? Server and player. Okay, and all we need to do here is send it to test notifications. Actually, there probably won't be any props, but we'll keep it there just in case there is in the future. Player GUI. All right, so we didn't create that fake function thingy. All right, so let's test this. We should have notifications at the top of our screen the moment we spawn in the game. And we don't. Because, okay, they are there, Just want to see if they're sized or positioned correctly. Okay, so it does look like they're going to be positioned correctly. Okay. Though when the player message wasn't properly displayed. Text equals should pop up. Info equals that. Okay, there, that should fix it. Then in our here, what we'll actually have to do is that. We don't want datetime. Okay, so this should all work. And we should get notifications at the very top of our screen below the inset. Sweet. So we get our server test and our player test. Now, if we create a second server message, they should appear in order. Quite a few of them here. And then we're going to use auto to, we'll do a bunch of player ones too. We're going to use auto to animate these. So these messages will only show up for, 10 seconds each, for example. And after 10 seconds, they'll remove. And then we want the ones below it to kind of push up into the old one's spot. So these are all doing it in order. Perfect. So, I guess next video, what we're going to do is we're going to move all these scripts into modules, and then we'll actually make the notification system that we have developed here do something. So it will say, rob the bank when you blow up the door, and then it will say, get to the vault, and then it will say, leave the bank, and whatnot. Okay, so that's what we'll do next video. So this project's coming along pretty nicely so far, I think. If you guys have any comments or suggestions, on what I'm doing, make sure to comment those so I can read that and improve myself, or get some feedback and see if one of your suggestions can make it into the project somehow. Either that, or you can go to the Vanguard Discord server, which once again will be in the description. And yeah, so that's everything for today. Make sure you give a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to the channel so you can get updates, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.